Hello gardeners! Today, we are in the garden to discuss a very important topic, tomato pruning. This is a simple skill that can make a big difference in your harvest. Many people feel unsure about cutting their beautiful plants, but I am here to show you that with a little knowledge, you can prune with confidence. It is one of the secrets to growing big, juicy tomatoes all summer long. Proper pruning is not just about making your plants look tidy, it is about helping them to be as healthy and productive as possible. So, let's get our garden gloves and our favorite shears and learn how to do it the right way. Before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay connected with all of our great gardening tips. Pruning your tomato plants is essential for a few key reasons. First, it helps the plant focus its energy. A tomato plant wants to grow as many leaves and stems as it can, but we want it to grow fruit. By removing extra non-essential stems, we tell the plant where to send its energy. This means the plant will produce larger and more flavorful tomatoes instead of just growing more green foliage. Think of it as guiding your plant to do its best work. This simple task ensures that all the sun, water, and nutrients you provide go directly into making delicious fruit for your kitchen. Another wonderful benefit of pruning is improved plant health. When a tomato plant is very dense with leaves, air cannot move through it easily. This creates a damp, shady environment where fungal diseases like blight and powdery mildew can thrive. By trimming away some of the lower leaves and suckers, you open up the plant. This allows for better airflow and helps the leaves dry faster after it rains or after you water them. A well-pruned plant is a healthier plant, and a healthier plant is much less likely to have problems with pests or diseases throughout the growing season. Finally, proper pruning makes managing your plants much easier. A tidy, well-pruned plant is simpler to support with stakes or cages. It is also easier to spot any potential problems, like pests or the first signs of disease. When it is time to harvest, you will find that the tomatoes are much easier to see and pick. You will not have to search through a jungle of leaves to find those perfect, ripe tomatoes. It is a good thing to make your gardening tasks more efficient and enjoyable. Taking a few minutes each week to prune will save you time and effort later. One of the most frequent mistakes I see is over-pruning. It is easy to get a little too enthusiastic with your shears. Gardeners sometimes remove too many leaves at once, which can shock the plant. The leaves are the plant's solar panels. They capture sunlight and turn it into energy through photosynthesis. If you remove too many, the plant cannot produce enough energy to grow and ripen its fruit. The tomatoes can also get sunscald, which is like a sunburn for fruit, if they are too exposed to direct, harsh sunlight. It is a delicate balance, and less is often more when you are first learning. Another common error is pruning at the wrong time of day or in the wrong conditions. You should always prune your tomato plants on a dry, sunny day. Pruning creates small wounds on the plant's stems. If you prune when it is wet or humid, these wounds stay moist for a longer period. This creates the perfect entry point for bacteria and fungi to infect your plant. It is best to do your pruning in the morning, after the dew has dried. This gives the cuts the entire day to dry and heal in the sunshine, reducing the risk of disease and keeping your plants strong and resilient. Incorrectly removing the suckers is also a mistake many gardeners make. Suckers are the small shoots that grow in the V space between the main stem and a side branch. While it is good to remove most of them, how you do it matters. You should not let them get too large before you remove them. A large sucker leaves a large wound, which is more susceptible to disease. Also, avoid just ripping them off with your fingers, as this can tear the main stem. It is much better to use a clean, sharp pair of small pruners or scissors for a precise cut. Finally, a very common mistake is failing to clean your tools. Your pruning shears can easily spread diseases from one plant to another. If you prune a diseased plant and then move to a healthy one without cleaning your tool, you are acting as a delivery service for pathogens. This is how diseases can quickly spread through your entire tomato patch. Before you start pruning, and especially between plants, take a moment to wipe your blades with a cloth dipped in rubbing alcohol or a diluted bleach solution. This simple step is one of the most effective ways to protect all the plants in your beautiful garden. Let's talk about the proper technique. The main goal is to create a strong central stem with well-spaced fruit-bearing branches. Start at the bottom of the plant. You should remove any leaves and stems that are touching the ground. This is very important because soil can splash onto the lower leaves when it rains, which is a common way for blight to start. I recommend removing all foliage on the bottom 8 to 12 inches of the main stem. This creates a clean base for the plant, improves airflow right where it is most needed, and makes it harder for pests to climb onto your plant. Next, we focus on the suckers. As we discussed, these grow between the main stem and a side branch. On indeterminate varieties, you want to remove most of these. When they are very small, less than 2 inches long, you can often pinch them off with your fingers. For larger suckers, always use clean, sharp pruners to make a clean cut. Be careful not to cut too close to the main stem. Leaving a tiny stub about 1/4 of an inch can help prevent damage to the main stem and allow the wound to heal properly. This selective removal channels the plant's energy directly into the branches that will produce fruit. To get the most sun and air to your plants, you need to think about their overall shape. As the plant grows taller, you may need to thin out some of the upper leaves, but do this sparingly. Only remove leaves that are yellowing or showing signs of disease, or leaves that are completely shading a cluster of developing tomatoes. The goal is to have dappled sunlight reach the interior of the plant. This balance of sun and shade protects the fruit while helping it ripen evenly. Good airflow is your best defense against the fungal diseases that love the damp conditions of a crowded plant. Proper support is a partner to good pruning. An unsupported plant will fall over, and the stems and fruit will lie on the ground where they are vulnerable to pests and rot. Staking is a simple method where you drive a tall, sturdy stake into the ground near the plant and loosely tie the main stem to it as it grows. Caging is another excellent option. Place a sturdy wire cage around the young plant and let it grow up through the supports. Trellising involves guiding the stems up a system of wires or strings. All these methods keep the plant upright, clean, and easy to manage. It is very important to know what type of tomato you are growing, as this determines how you should prune it. There are 2 main types, indeterminate and determinate. Indeterminate tomatoes, like most heirloom and cherry varieties, will grow and produce fruit all season long until the first frost. They grow like a vine and can become very large. These are the plants that benefit the most from regular, heavy pruning. You should prune them to 1 or 2 main stems and consistently remove suckers to control their size and focus their energy on producing a steady supply of fruit. Determinate tomatoes, on the other hand, are sometimes called bush tomatoes. These plants grow to a specific, predetermined size, set all their fruit at once over a few weeks, and then they are done. Varieties like Roma are often determinate. For these types, you should do very little pruning. The fruit develops on the ends of the branches, so if you remove too many suckers or branches, you will be cutting off your future harvest. You should only prune the leaves below the first flower cluster to improve airflow. Otherwise, let them grow naturally into their bush-like shape. What about heirloom varieties? Most heirlooms are indeterminate, so they require the same kind of pruning. However, some heirloom plants can be particularly vigorous. It is a good idea to be diligent with them. Check for suckers weekly, and do not be afraid to thin out some of the dense foliage to let the light in. With heirlooms, the goal is often quality over quantity. By carefully pruning, you help the plant produce those large, incredibly flavorful tomatoes that heirlooms are famous for. Just remember to support them well, as the fruit can get quite heavy and weigh down the branches. In summary, proper pruning is one of the most rewarding things you can do for your tomato plants. It leads to healthier plants, larger and more delicious fruit, and an easier harvest. Remember to identify your tomato type, use clean tools, and avoid the common mistakes of over-pruning or pruning in wet conditions. Gardening is a journey of learning, and every season teaches us something new. I encourage you to get out in your garden, practice these techniques, and see the wonderful results for yourself. Please share your own tomato growing tips in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and talk soon.